What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports, back again with another one. Draymond Green, four-time NBA champion, defensive player of the year, defensive MVP in 2016-2017 season, the heart and soul of the Golden State Warriors, a guy that brings edge to an otherwise finesse Warriors team, a guy that can guard all five positions on the courts. He can guard the 5, he can guard the 4, he can guard the 3, he can guard the 2, he can guard the 1. Very versatile defender, but a guy that is very polarized in the NBA. One of the most controversial players in the NBA since Dennis Rodman. A guy that, once again, finds himself in a situation, altercation. Got right in the middle of a scrum involving his teammate, Klay Thompson, who got into it with forward McDaniels after a missed shot by the Minnesota Timberwolves. This happened last night, ladies and gentlemen. Klay Thompson stiff-armed McDaniel like Earl Campbell used to stiff-arm those cornerbacks and those safety when he was rushing in his glory days for the Houston Oilers. McDaniel responded and tried to chunk Klay Thompson. I ain't talking about chunking the deuce. He tried to chunk Klay Thompson up off him, or maybe at least to the ground, maybe. Klay Thompson responded in kind and tried to chunk McDaniels. They got into it, and I'm gonna tell you something that a lot of people didn't see when this thing first jumped off between Thompson and McDaniels. When he stiffed on McDaniel hit him with a little body shot with the left hand. If you got to really go back and watch that video, he hit him with a little body shot. And then at the end of the altercation, he hit him with I believe it was a straight right hand, or maybe a straight left hand. He hit him twice, basically. And it all started with the stiff arm by Klay Thompson. Rudy Gobert of the Minnesota Timberwolves came and tried to restrain Klay Thompson. Probably should have grabbed his own teammate. Didn't do that. Draymond Green came from behind and put him in a chokehold / full Nelson. And now Draymond Green is once again finding himself in a situation, altercation, which will lead to his suspension. Will it be a slap on the wrist, or will they finally drop the hammer to Draymond Green, who has a laundry list of incidents that goes back all the way to the year they blew that 3-1 lead to the Cleveland Cavaliers when he got suspended when he hit LeBron James down under. And I ain't talking about Australia. Hit him down under, got suspended for game 6, which opened the door for the Cleveland Cavaliers to pull one of the biggest comebacks in NBA history, down 3-1. Ultimately came back and won that series 4-3. And the tipping point of that series was Draymond Green going down under and hitting LeBron James when LeBron James attempted to step over him when they got tangled up. With all that being said, he's got a long laundry list of incidents and provocations and altercations. Look at when he kicked Sam Adams down under after Sam Adams, who's not from here. He's from Australia, if I'm not mistaken. Now, he's from New Zealand. I think he's from New Zealand, if I'm not mistaken. He made a comment about monkeys in the same sentences when he was talking about NBA players. Draymond Green did not like that. He kicked him down under. He got into it with Bradley Beal. They got tangled up at the end of the second quarter, going into halftime. They got tangled up. They bear hugging each other, trying to body slam each other to the ground. He got into it with Rajon Rondo, who was at that time playing for the New Orleans Pelicans at the end of the second quarter. They got into it. That was a playoff game, if I'm not mistaken. He got into it a couple of days ago with Donovan Spider Mitchell, They got into it. Mitchell was pointing to the locker room saying, we don't have to do this out here when you're doing all these histrionics. We can take it to the back halls. We can take it to the hallway. We can take it to out there where they load up and take us on away from the arena out there in the transportation/garage area. You know what I'm saying? We can take it out there and really get down. You want to put on a show in front of all these people? I ain't about all that. I'm about, you want to throw these hands, we throw these hands our way, ain't nobody can break us up. It's basically what Donovan Spider-Man Mitchell told Draymond Green when he pointed to that, pointed back toward the locker room. You see what I'm saying? He's said some stuff about old Perkins. Remember old Perk? He worked for ESPN. He used to play for the Boston Celtics, the Oklahoma City Thunder. He tried to call him out. And basically Perkins told him, you don't want this work. You ain't about that life. We know you ain't about that life. It's been proven that you ain't about that life, referring to the incident that he had with Tristan Thompson, which started on the court and carried off the court. As Tristan Thompson seen Draymond Green in that club and walked up on him and pimp slapped him. And it was said that Draymond Green did nothing about facts. So you about that life on the court, but you're not about that life off the court. Draymond Green punched his own teammate. Poole hit him with the one-hitter quitter, put him to sleep like he had given him some NyQuil. If Draymond Green perceive you as a soft player, if Draymond Green perceive you as a lover, not a fighter, he'll attack you. And he'll attack you in bodacious fashion. You see what I'm saying? But if he think you a real one, he gonna leave you alone like he left Tristan Thompson alone, like he ain't one trying to see Perk. And that's just how Draymond Green rolls. Will he get suspended? I believe it will be a slap on the wrist. He should be made an example out of based on the incidents with an S that he has been involved in throughout his illustrious NBA career. He should be suspended at the bare minimum of 10 games, but I think we're looking at max 2 games, likely 1 game. But for him to jump on Rudy Gobert, who he perceived as soft, who he perceived as a lover, not a fighter, jumped on him, choked him out, put him in the full Nelson, and dragged him away from the scrum. What he did that to Ron Artest? What he did that to Charles Oakley? What he did that to Charles Barkley? What he did that to Anthony Mason? What he did that to Patrick Ewing? You know what I'm saying? What he did that to old school Akeem Olajuwon. I ain't talking about when he found his Muslim religion. I'm talking about before then when he was swinging with everybody that got out of hand, got out of pocket. He ain't mind swinging them things with you, swinging and banging. Old UGK, he ain't mind doing that with you. I'm talking about that Olajuwon. I ain't talking about the one that they found religion and was cool and really had no temper no more. I'm talking about U of H Olajuwon. When he elbowed Olden Paulinice, when Olden Paulinice was got out of pocket. He elbowed him right in the throat, bow! And kept on running down court like ain't nothing happened. I'm talking about that Akeem Olajuwon back with the old U of H days, 5 slammer jam. When you'd have grabbed him like that, hell to the now you wouldn't have. Draymond Green is a guy that likes to pick on the weak and stay away from the strong. And that's what he do. That's how he roll. That's how he get down. But the bottom line is, Klay Thompson is a shell of his former self. They say he was chirping at the jump ball to McDaniels, and he ain't been that type of player to chirp before. When you talk about an incident, an altercation, Klay Thompson be the last NBA player you expect to get involved in that type of altercation. But I know last year when he got into it with Booker from Phoenix Suns, when Booker was cooking him. He's got into it with other players that have gotten the best of him. He got into it with Dillon Brooks when Dillon Brooks was locking him up and throwing away the key. So Klay Thompson, who's had surgery on both legs, is not the same player. Still a good player, but not one of the top 15 players in the NBA like he was pre-surgeries. Not arguably the best 2-guard in the NBA at that time. And he was playing when James Harden was at the top of his game with the when he was at the top of his game with the Houston Rockets. I'm talking about that version of Klay Thompson. Not the same player. That's why it's putting a lot of pressure on Steph Curry to pull out 30-plus games continuously. Because if he don't do that, they have a hard time winning. They have a hard time producing enough offense to get the dub. With all that being said, the Golden State Warriors, who are still a playoff caliber team, but when you talk about championship contenders, They are not being mentioned like they have been mentioned throughout their championship run. You talk about the Denver Nuggets when you talk about the Western Conference. You talk about the Los Angeles Lakers. You talk about the Phoenix Suns. You know what I'm saying? You talk about the Sacramento Kings. You talk about the LA Clippers with the acquisition of James Harden, which right now is going all wrong. You talk about those teams. Golden State Warriors is an afterthought. If they was eliminated in the second round of the playoffs last year by the Los Angeles Lakers, who then went on to get swept by the eventual NBA champions, Denver Nuggets. With all that being said, Draymond Green needs to be suspended and needs to be suspended for, in my opinion, at least 10 games. He needs to be taught a lesson, because after he knocked out his own teammate, the Golden State Warriors rewarded him with a $100 million contract and got rid of Poole. Got rid of his nemesis, got rid of the problem that they perceived in the locker room that hurt them throughout this past season when they had one of the worst records at home. Had one of the worst records on the road, which ultimately cost them a favorable city in the playoffs and ultimately cost them a chance at a repeat. With all that being said, Draymond Green probably will end up getting a slap on the wrist, and he'll be able to keep on getting in the referee's face, cussing the referees out, putting the referees on blast without repercussions. Any other player in the NBA does that, they're going to get a technical and possibly kicked out the game. That Draymond Green needs to be taught a lesson. And the NBA, led by Adam Silver, need to drop the hammer on this guy, in my opinion. I believe he needs to be suspended for 10 games. We will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Follow me on Facebook, Gerard Briscoe. Like, share, and subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. And I holla.